And that's it, ladies and gentlemen. That's it. This weird ass 2020 is over. We've crowned the champion. We have a World Series loser. We have free agency. We have new managers getting hired. We have a whole bunch of shit. Welcome to episode 21 of the Pinch Talk podcast, as always, with Mario and Pat. I'm your host, Mario. It's a painful time. It's a painful time to be a Rockies fan. Not gonna hold you. We'll get into that when we get into it. With me, as always, is Pat. How you doing, bro?
I'm good, man. I can't complain. Been very productive lately. Been
You've
putting
been
out
pumping out those
articles.
articles. Them shits be
Yeah,
fire, bro.
yeah. I really had to step it up, and also had to focus on some black pitchers a lot more. So that's been the last three of my four. Um, I'm I'm cool. I could be worse. So we just let Carlos Santana go, but
Yeah, I know you was sad about that. So,
I'm I'm
uh,
I'm sad. Like it still hasn't really fully hit me yet. Like I'm hoping to myself that we bring him back on a friendly deal that's also fair, but I
I
doubt
don't
it.
know, bro.
I doubt it.
I doubt it. So what he's talking about, we'll get into that when we get to it. And check out Pat's articles, of course. Like he said, he's been really putting out some work, some good work recently. Yeah, he's put a whole bunch of shit. I'm slacking on my shit because I got stuck writing my own, and Pat gave me a couple, like guidelines, sort of to go by.
Just
And I think I
just
can.
simple advice. You really were covering a huge topic just with a wide span of events. So you really got to break that down,
Yeah,
not only for yourself in order to be able to put it out, but also for the audience to digest as well.
yeah. That's
And
one thing
that's
I
and
still
that's
need to
very important.
understand.
That's very
Mm,
important.
yeah,
Especially when it comes to a sport like baseball, when you throw in the numbers and the context and things like
yeah,
that, you really gotta make sure it's digestible.
yeah. Exactly. One good thing, one good thing you typically have going for you if you write about baseball is that the average baseball fan has a great attention span because he has to. So
Yeah,
that plays to your, to your articles
advantage.
maybe being a bit longer than others work. But anyway, so yeah, there's a lot of things to talk about. Manager, like I said, managers getting hired, free agency, qualifying offers, and of course, the World Series. Now, I'd like to throw it over to you first. Give me like not necessarily like a game by game breakdown of the World Series, or nothing like that, but just like your overall impressions on this series as a whole. Comparing it to what we thought before this series started. We'll get into how accurate and how inaccurate we were in our predictions when we get to it. But like, yeah, like what you thought of the series as a whole, because it had some great moments, but it also had something that you would expect. A couple things.
Um, I think it made the World Series made sense this year. You had the two best teams in each league make it,
Yeah,
and not just from as a result of this season standpoint, but from a organizational standpoint, these are also two of the best teams in baseball. Well, they're at least in the top five for sure when it comes to just how the organizations run things. From a narrative standpoint, you had Andrew Freeman, the head of the LA Dodgers, who pretty much took the model that he perfected with the Rays and took it to LA. And he also gets billions of dollars to play with each season.
yeah,
And from we're going to get into this, but from a standpoint of an analytics narrative that we're going to have to really break down, it showed, I feel like this World Series legitimized analytics. Well, actually, you can say the World Series with the Astros and the Dodgers did, but I feel like this one really did, even despite the narrative that the two hosts had, sadly, and the narrative that the idiot baseball players that they let talk, David Ortiz and Alex Rodriguez, just two of the whoever the fuck.
yeah.
Um,
Because I was just about to say that. Like, I'm not sure. I think this World Series might hurt the analytics movement. That is, I mean, it's really not.
to the
Yeah,
casual fan,
yeah.
yes,
I mean,
and
to the casual fan, yeah,
to
the
the
casual
narrative,
fan, yeah.
absolutely. But MLB organizations are not going to budge. it's not just from the fact that they're too far in or they bought into it too much. It works. That's why they use it.
Yeah, that's a fact.
It works. That's all there's to say. The shit works.
Yeah, you just saw the Rays and the multi-billion-dollar budget Rays go at it in the World Series. Predictable outcome, but yeah, like people who say like, analytics, I think it was Paul O'Neill who said it during the Yankees and Rays series. He said, "Can't we just get rid of analytics and go back to playing baseball?" What the fuck do you think they're doing, bro? Every team in baseball uses analytics to some extent. Even the most old school, old fashioned, unadvanced front offices, that would be the Royals and the Rockies
and the Pirates.
Yes, even those teams would be considered cutting edge in 1993. Like, that's just a fact. So analytics, like, this is not a battle between analytics and old school. Analytics won that battle years ago. I think people just need to realize that.
Yeah, I feel like one thing people don't look at with analytics is the minor leagues and player development.
Yes. Analytics is not a number. Just it's about maximizing each player's capabilities.
Exactly. Recognizing talent, recognizing what players are good at, what they aren't. How can you improve that? And you saw the fucking computer screen and shit they had in the dugouts with the heat maps and all that stuff for the scouting reports.
And that's simple.
There's a reason why they go that far. There's a reason why you have teams throwing millions of dollars into fucking analytics departments and shit, hiring Harvard and Ivy League fucking mathematicians and shit like that.
Yeah.
Slow motion cameras and all this stuff.
Yeah, Edgertronic cameras, all the paraphernalia they need. Why? Because it works.
Yes, you use that to maximize your players' value by putting the best players you can on the field. The LA Dodgers would not have identified who Max Muncy was.
Yes.
And identified the swing change he needed to make, if not for analytics. That's a simple fact.
Or Justin Turner. Let me ask you a question. Do you think Mookie Betts would have become a 30-plus home run hitter if he was playing in 1980?
No.
Hell no. Hell no.
Same with Francisco Lindor, Jose Ramirez, all the other Trevor Story. Well, actually, Trevor Story is actually kind of big, so he probably would have.
No, yeah, he would have. He's like 6'2", I think.
Yeah, he's like 6'2", 6'3". But people talk about Brandon Lowe, Randy Arozarena. I mean,
come on, man. Like, there's so many examples of hitters who are made better because they understand their swings. They understand, like, the mechanics that go into them. Yes. And so many pitchers that this can apply to. I mean, you just saw Trevor Bauer have a Cy Young winning season, pretty much. He's the most, he's the most analytically pitcher in baseball.
He has a unit called a Bauer unit named after him.
Yeah.
Which is RPM based on in relation to velocity.
Yeah, whatever all that is. The point is, analytics have won. Analytics work. Analytics are going to be here. The problem is using analytics properly, right?
And also, we're going to get, people being able to comprehend what it is and how it affects the on-field and off-field process.
Yeah. Analytics are far more important for team building and player development than for in-game decisions. I think people don't understand that.
Organizational philosophy, preference in player types when they draft, and things like that as well.
Exactly. I mean, this is really not a discussion, fam. So we'll talk about, probably a little bit about the reaction, people blaming analytics for a certain decision that happened in Game 6. But first, I think it's fair to kind of, recap the entire World Series. In case y'all didn't know, you lived under a rock. The LA Dodgers won their first World Series since 1988, if I'm not mistaken. They beat the Rays in 6 games. The better team won. I'm just going to say that. And I'm also going to point out that I was on point with my prediction. I said Dodgers in 6 because the Rays would not hit enough. And the Dodgers won in 6 because the Rays would not hit enough. Was there any game that like really surprised you aside from Game 4, of course?
I think that's it. Game 4 was the only real surprise, honestly. I'm looking at the box score, and it was really in the moment it was really competitive, but in hindsight, the Rays didn't hit for shit.
Yeah.
Besides Game 4, when they got 8 runs and they got the last 2 on a fluke ass play. That
yeah.
We could just spend about 20 minutes breaking down that one play because I saw so many incorrect takes just flying right after, and nobody really broke it down correctly. But we can do that. Besides Game 4, these are run totals the Rays had. They scored 3 in Game 1 and they lost. They scored 6 in Game 2 and they actually won. They scored 2 in Game 3. They scored 2 in Game 5 and they scored 1 in Game 6.
And Game 2, they only scored 6 because Brandon Lau went insane that game.
Yeah, like he put the team on his back in that game, and this was in the midst of him having a terrible postseason.
Yeah,
I know that seems to happen that seems to happen with young players, anyways. So, besides Randy Arozarena.
Yo, this motherfucker gotta be like the fucking second coming of Ted Williams or some shit, bro. Like, I'm not understanding like what we just witnessed.
He has more hits in the postseason than he does in his regular season career.
That's fuck.
Like, it's so unique because the man only has about 40, 50 games at the MLB level.
Yeah, and he said every single postseason record you could find.
Everyone.
He had the most hits, had the most home runs.
Most hits for a rookie.
I think he had the most hits, period.
He might have because of the extra series, but most hits for a rookie, most home runs. He carried that Rays team to a World Series.
Yeah, he did. Let me find out, dude. This motherfucker, he had an OPS of 1,200
in the postseason.
Yeah, in the entire postseason. This motherfucker was Barry Bonds in the postseason, bro.
Literally.
He slugged 773. Jesus Christ.
And what was so interesting was he really went to center and right center a lot.
Yeah, like.
And it seemed it was crazy because he didn't miss any mistakes.
Yeah, and it was like, Doug. Because in the Yankee series, it was like, well, maybe they should stop throwing him fastballs. Then they started throwing him breaking balls in latter series, and he started hitting those as well. So it was like, maybe just not pitch to the guy.
Yeah, like, why don't you just? I mean, it was crazy because every time he came up with 2 guys on base, everybody knew he was gonna get a hit.
Yeah, if the Rays had man on base for Randy Arozarena, they won the game. If they didn't have man on base for Randy Arozarena, they lost the game. That's
by
as
1.
Simple. Yes.
And you still hit a home run and 2 doubles or something in the game.
Look, listen. I think we can go going game by game. The Dodgers won Game 1, 8-3. I expected this, to be quite honest with you. Yeah. I expected the Dodgers to jump all over Tyler Glasnow. Because they prey on pitchers like him who cannot command his pitches. No,
and Tyler Glasnow is really inconsistent with his mechanics, and when he gets out of whack, it can be difficult for him to reel it back in. And he just wasn't competitive at all.
Yeah, I think that Tyler Glasnow typically is the definition of the term effectively wild, because he misses so often and by so much that I gotta think that even the hitter at the plate doesn't know exactly what's coming. Like, you might be expecting a high fastball, but you might get a low fastball, and it's not by design. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, he misses constantly. I think also the fact that he's a 2-pitch pitcher doesn't quite help him. But I mean, he's still a work in progress. I think Snell is definitely the best pitcher in that staff.
Definitely. I mean, he has a Cy Young award, and people forget that.
Yeah.
And he's probably he's a top 3, 2 lefty in baseball with Clayton Kershaw, maybe. as in terms of starting pitchers. And one thing that makes Blake Snell unique is he's the hardest throwing starting lefty in baseball. He has two great breaking balls in the slider and curveball. And his changeup is really good as well. But
and he commands them well.
Like you saw in Game 6. You saw in Game 6 what he could do when all his pitches were on, and he could put him wherever he wanted, whenever he wanted. That curveball he was getting to bend over the top of the strike zone was just ridiculous. The tunnel with his I don't know what Kevin Cash was thinking. He should have left him in that game until.
All right, hold on.
We'll get to that. God, bro.
We'll get to that.
Okay.
So, the Rays win Game 2, 6-4 on the Brandon Lau game. Snell actually pitched that game, and I found it interesting. Kind of to get back, to make a quick point about Glasnow and where he's at against versus Snell. It was very interesting to me to see them pitch games back to back, because you could see the difference in their misses. Like sometimes you can tell a lot by a pitcher by how he misses, right?
Mm-hmm.
When Glasnow misses, it's all over the place. Like you never know where he's gonna miss. You might set a target high and out, high and outside. He might miss down and in with a fastball. But Snell, when he misses always in the general area of the intended target. So that's like you can tell that he's just more advanced. But and the better pitch mix also helps. But anyway, so the Dodgers won Game 3, 6-2. Walker Buehler was great. I thought they should have let him go another inning, but that's just me. They won it easy. It was not really a contest. Game 4 was a fucking insanity of a game. I think I'm pretty sure it featured like 7 half innings in a row where there was at least 1 run scored. And it was like someone takes the lead, someone takes it back. Someone takes the lead, someone takes it back. And it was won on one of the most ridiculous walk-offs you will ever see. Honestly, we kind of mentioned it before. Any way that we can talk about that play, right, doesn't do it justice. You got to go look it up. So, yeah, like just type in Game 4 2020 World Series and look at the end of that game. It is one of the most ridiculous plays you will ever see. Honestly. And you wanted to go ahead? I caught you.
No, you can go ahead, man. I was just agreeing.
Okay, so and then Game 5, series tied 2-2. Clayton Kershaw on the mound, who, by the way, was pretty good in Game 1. And Kershaw has another wonderful start in Game 5. We'll talk about some of his postseason demons and how he exercised them this year as well, because that's part of the narrative. And the Dodgers win that game 4-2. Again, going after Glasnow early. They made Glasnow throw so many pitches. Glasnow threw like 115 pitches in Game 1, threw a lot in Game 5. He's just not ready to go up against a lineup as disciplined as the Dodgers lineup.
And he was a lot better in Game 5 than he was in Game 1.
Yeah, he was, but he's still not good enough.
And I feel like one thing we also can talk about is the fact that because of Blake Snell's lack of command, he doesn't get as many strike calls as he should.
Glasnow, you mean?
Glasnow, yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, you're right. You're right on that one.
Because if you just because of movement combined with also how umpires judge the strike zone, when they see a catcher with his glove somewhere and he has to move it all the way across his body to catch a ball, even if it's a strike, he may call it a ball just based on that movement because he's looking at the catcher for context sometimes.
Yeah, exactly.
And when you have a guy that's combining velocity and movement like Tyler Glasnow does, it can also make it a little more difficult to call those pitches.
Yeah, I'm not gonna hold you. I thought the Rays were on the wrong end of a lot of calls.
Actually, that was pretty fair. I looked at the umpire stats and all that, and he got like 90% of the calls right. And there was like a slight edge towards the Dodgers, but the Dodgers pitching staff is a lot better in terms of control than the Rays pitching staff is.
The one I remember is that Corey Seager. Remember when Corey Seager went and tried to steal second? I think it was Game 5, actually. Yeah, it was Game 5 against Glasnow. And he tried to steal second with one out. And I think Muncy at the plate. And he tried to steal second. He got caught stealing second, and they called him safe.
Right.
And he went on to score. And I was like, dog, like one out, runner on second base is so much different from 2 out, nobody on base. Like the probability of you scoring a run is so much lower. I thought they got fucked over with that call. And I mean, I'm just me. I'm kind of like fucking around here. Like I'm not fully serious, but like I wouldn't be shocked if like like MLB said a couple things to the umpires and the people taking a look at this series. Just to make sure an LA team wins the championship. That kind of that kind of deal.
Yeah, that's definitely a possibility, a tangible one at that.
This is definitely not me being a salty Rockies fan who lost his only joke to keep his dignity, by the way. This is definitely not me doing that.
I mean, it's a lot more profitable as the Dodgers won, too.
It is. I was surprised that the Rays won Game 7 against Houston. Not gonna hold you. I was surprised. I thought for sure MLB would put the call in. Let's have the rematch. You know what I'm saying? But that's just me being stupid. Let's go and talk about Game 6. Because there's a lot of things to talk about here. So you want to do kind of a recap of Game 6? Because I think you actually watched it. I was following it on, I was following the game on the MLB at Bat app because I didn't want to put the game on and potentially wake people in my house because it was like 2 a.m. and shit.
Okay. So Game 6, you had Blake Snell versus Tony Gonsolin. And in the first inning, top of the first inning, who hit a solo home run? I was waiting for you to follow
named
up.
Randy.
Yeah, pretty much. His 10th in the postseason. 10.
All-time record.
10. That's a crazy number. And he is third of the World Series. And Gonsolin actually got knocked out in 1 2/3 innings. And
Dave Roberts said he wasn't going to be an opener. He was bullshitting on that one.
Well, I mean, when you allow 2 runners on in the first 2 innings, and honestly, you got to take him out because the other lineup has seen him too well.
I mean, they actually, like, now that I'm seeing it, they replaced him with 2 men on and Randy Arena at the plate. So I can't be too upset at that. You can go ahead. I was just butting in right there.
The guy to replace him with though was Flora.
Yeah.
And he actually he threw Randy Arena 3 straight changeups, bro.
Yeah.
And he whipped on all of them. And on the last one, it was a foul tip. And it was funny because you could tell by his body language that Rosemary thought he fouled it off. And that was a big play because I could have won them the game. And the fact that I knew if the Rays didn't at least get a run or two in the 2 opportunities they had in the first and second innings, that they weren't going to win the game.
I agree with that because they also blew a shot, 2 men on, only 1 out opportunity in the first as well. So
right, they had two opportunities like that in the first 2 innings, and they needed to maximize both of those. And Kevin Catt and Blake Snell was dealing. Yeah, all his pitches.
He struck out 5 of the first 6 hitters he faced.
Justin Turner, Corey Seager, and Mookie Betts were 0 for 6 for him with two strikeouts each. So that's 6 strikeouts over 6 through their first 2 turns in the lineup.
He was dealing, and he was very efficient as well, unlike some other starts Blake Snell has had, because he nibbles a little bit sometimes. He can get,
I feel like he just lives on the edges of the zone with his stuff.
He was on point. Like there was no.
Yeah, like he was getting 0-2 counts, 1-2 counts every hitter through the lineup. And you just don't see that with a lineup that good. They looked helpless.
Yeah.
Like there was a real shot he could have threw a no hitter if he had a little bit more luck. Because when you strike out 9 on 73 pitches and 5 and 1/3 innings with no walks, Kevin Cash should have let him go until at least the 7th at that pace.
Okay, so here we get to it. Let me set the stage. It's the bottom of the 6th inning. The Rays are up 1-0 on that solo homer in the first. They haven't done anything offensively since that point. You got Blake Snell, bottom of the 6th again. He's facing 8, 9, and 1. He retires AJ Pollock on a regular pop-up and then gives up a single to Austin Barnes, the catcher, number 9 hitter. And with that, the next hitter up would have been Mookie Betts with a runner on base and 1 out. That would have been Mookie's 3rd time facing Snell. Snell was at 73 pitches, if I'm not mistaken. He had been untouchable all game long. Seriously, they were. I was following the game on the app, and I would see the location on some of the swings and misses, and I was like, dude, these got to be some ugly ass swings that they're putting on these pitches.
They were. They look like kids. They look like children.
Okay, so it's even worse than I thought. So in that situation, 1 on, 1 out, with Mookie Betts coming up to face, Mookie Betts in the top of the order to face Snell for the 3rd time, a Snell that's been dominant so far.
And mind you, this
Kevin
is
Cash.
This is
go ahead.
one of the only games in the regular season or postseason that Mookie Betts struck out twice.
Yeah, Seager and Turner as well.
This is one of the only games that Mookie Betts had in the regular season or the postseason in 2020 where he struck out twice.
No, I know that, but I'm I know, but I'm just saying he also struck out Seager and Turner. He was
I went over that
at the top of the order.
Yeah, he struck out he had 6 total strikeouts against the top 3 batters in that lineup. And mind you, those are the best 3 players on that team offensively in the postseason.
Yeah, exactly. So what does Kevin Cash do? He pulls Snell from the game to bring in Nick Anderson, the guy who had been the best Rays reliever in the regular season, but also a guy who had no way of getting anybody out in the postseason since day 1 of the postseason, pretty much. Hadn't he allowed at that point a run in 6 straight appearances, which I think is a record?
I think so, yeah.
So Cash pulls Snell for Nick Anderson. What happens then? Mookie Betts immediately doubles. Then Nick Anderson throws a wild pitch against Corey Seager. Austin Barnes scores. Mookie goes to 3rd. Game is tied 1-1. Runner on 3rd base, 1 out. Then Corey Seager grounds to 1st, but Mookie Betts shows off that he is an elite base runner, actually, and scores anyway. Corey Seager safe at 1st. And then Nick Anderson does get he does get Turner and Muncy out for the final 2 outs. But the Rays entered the inning leading 1-0. They leave it without Snell on the mound, trailing 2-1 in an elimination game. And boy,
only 9 outs.
Social media was pissed.
I was livid.
I was not surprised that he pulled him. I
wasn't surprised either. I was mad it was Nick Anderson. That's the thing. Because Nick Anderson had been terrible all full season. He was tired. Even though it was weird because he was elite in the regular season. He only had a 0.77 ERA, which is ridiculous.
He struck out 44% of hitters faced.
Yeah, and he should have known that Kevin Cash should have put in Diego Castillo maybe or all the guys you had in the bullpen, and you were the one that's literally doing the worst.
Yeah, so let's talk about the decision because it has a lot of layers to it, right? I think we can both agree we personally would not have pulled Snell from that game.
No, I would have let him go on. And, if Mookie Betts starts to rally against Snell, so be it.
I agree with that. At that
It will be a
point,
tie game.
yes, at that point, a Blake Snell that's rolling like he is he has been rolling all game. A Blake Snell that's been rolling like he is your best pitcher. The point of analytics sabermetrics is to put your best players in the most important spots in the game to help you win.
Right.
You want Blake Snell on the mound in that situation, in my opinion. Now, while I and I'm like I said, I can speak for both of us. We don't agree with pulling Snell. I think we also both of us saw it coming, and we understand.
That's what the Rays do, and that's what postseason baseball is. Because when you look at it, you got Mookie Betts. You got the top of that Dodgers lineup. You got Mookie Betts, Seager, and Turner, who all already saw Blake Snell twice, even though he's been on fire. Going up to bat with it was one runner on and one out, right?
Yep.
It was one out. So at the very least, he had to face Mookie and
Seager.
Mookie's Mookie, and Corey Seager was the World Series MVP, and he literally bat like 400 or something like that in the World Series.
Yeah, it was insane.
I get it. You want to give him a different look. But Nick Anderson?
Yeah, not Nick Anderson, bro.
No.
I understand pulling Snell, considering that we're talking about Kevin Cash, we're talking about the Rays. I understand them doing so. I expected it. I don't like it, but I understand it. But for Nick Anderson, bro? Hell no. And it was not even a fact of like, you got to look at splits. I think that this was just a fact that Blake Snell has been known to not pitch deep into games. He's been known to fall apart a little bit when he goes, through a lineup 3 times. Yeah, when he's been known for this. So we also got to say this to like paint the full picture, because it's not fair to just say, fuck Kevin Cash, they need to fire him. I always laugh at people who say that, because it's like, dude, this guy literally just managed your team, your underfunded ass team, to get a World Series Game 6 with one of the lowest payrolls in the league. You are going to fire him? I'll take him on the Rockies. Fuck that. But anyway, it doesn't make sense to not paint the full picture. Blake Snell is known for not pitching deep into games, for running his pitch counts up, and for falling apart, like I said, a little bit the third time through the order. So I'm sure that was on Kevin Cash's mind. Now, everyone knows baseball players are obviously not robots. They don't perform the same all the time. But analytics don't tell you to pull Blake Snell from that game. Analytics tell you that there's a chance that Blake Snell is going to be a little bit worse third time through the order than the first 2 times. Kevin Cash, just my opinion, I've said it a million times, Kevin Cash jumped the gun.
He did. He overthought it.
Yeah, he jumped the gun. My threshold for danger would have been Will Smith, personally. I let him face Mookie. I let him face Corey Seager. I let him face Justin Turner. I let him face Muncy, of course. If Will Smith gets to the plate with a runner on base, I'd take Snell out of that game.
I agree, because of the right-lefty split. Because when you think about it, the top 4, you got 2 righties and 2 lefties.
Yeah. And Mookie is really like, he's good. He's equal against righties and lefties. So
yeah, and Mookie, he was in the same division as Blake Snell for years, so he knows what he's getting.
Yeah, he's seen him many times before.
I agree with
you.
Man. I think my threshold would have been Will Smith, even if the Dodgers had a lead. And then you start fresh in a whole new inning with a whole new reliever.
Exactly. You don't want to put relievers on with runners on base. You trust Blake Snell to get you out of that inning. Even if you want to pull him to begin the 7th, that's fine. That's how you got there. That's fine. But trust Blake Snell to pitch out of trouble. And don't replace him with Nick fucking Anderson, dog. I would have understood Castillo. Wouldn't have liked it. I would have understood Castillo. I would have understood Fairbanks.
Or the gajillion other guys they have in that bullpen.
Yeah. It's also important to say that the bullpen allowed those two runners, allowed two runs to score, and then allowed one more run on a home run in the bottom of the eighth. But at the end of the day, all this talk really means nothing because guess what, people? The Rays scored one fucking run.
Yeah, when you hold the Dodgers to 3 runs, you gotta win, or you gotta.
If you hold the Dodgers to 3 runs, you don't win. You deserve to lose a World Series. That's just it.
Yeah, you said it.
They did nothing against Julio Diaz, and the Rays were the epitome of 3 true outcomes hitting all postseason long. Is what got them there, but it's also what lost them the game. I mean, I don't know how dude. When I saw Willie Adames walk up there with 2 outs, potentially the last out,
it was over.
I was like, this dude's gonna strike out on 3 pitches, and sure enough, he struck.
He struck out looking.
Yeah, fastball right down the fucking
fastball.
Yeah, it was tough to watch, dog, because every Rays hitter not named Arozarena or G-Man Choi or like Yandy Diaz, they all sucked.
Yeah, they put up terrible at bats. You can tell they were just. Joey Wendell was actually pretty good too.
He had some,
He had good at bats, although he had a little bad luck. But I mean, the Rays lost how they won. Low scoring, relying on defense and pitching.
Exactly. I think that I do find it, I do kind of find it admirable in a way that Kevin Cash went out basically with his philosophy. Like he said, if I win is because of my philosophy. If I lose is because of my philosophy. I kind of admire that. It's a bit stupid when you consider context, but I kind of admire that. Not gonna hold you. Like him sticking with his guns to the death.
When I watch him manage, he reminds me a lot of Tito, especially when it comes to pitching changes and stuff like that. So I mean, I get it. And mind you, he was on Tito Francona's staff. He was their bullpen coach, actually.
That makes sense then.
So, I mean, I'm going to give Kevin Cash the benefit of the doubt. He's easily a top 3 manager in baseball, no matter what. This doesn't change that either.
Yeah, it doesn't.
It wasn't switching pitches that was wrong. It was the pitcher he chose to go with. And
exactly.
We can reiterate that, but it's probably going to fall on deaf ears.
It will, because people want to hate on analytics, despite the fact that the Dodgers, the only team in baseball as analytically inclined as the Rays, just won the fucking World Series.
Right, exactly.
But, let's look past that. Let's get back to old school baseball, because gut feel has never done a manager wrong. Right? Get the fuck out of here, man. If you got any comment on that whole shit, because people always talk about fucking John Smoltz. He always talks about how you should always manage with gut feel in the postseason. You got any comments on that? Because I actually have one. Like,
it doesn't make any sense.
I just watched, dude, listen. I just watched the 2000 World Series. I watched a couple games, not like full, of course, but I watched a couple games. Game 5 of that World Series, the clincher for the Yankees. The Mets, with their season on the line and their best relievers warmed up in the bullpen, sent their starter back out for the 9th inning when he was at like 130 pitches. And guess what happened?
They lost.
With the game tied at 2-2. Guess what happened?
Yankees walked it off or something, didn't they?
Here's what happened. Al Leiter, who, by the way, works at MLB MLB Network right now, he got the first 2 outs of the inning. Then he walked Jorge Posada, gave up a single, then another single, then a throwing error, scored 2 runs. The Yankees won it. That was a gut feel call. sticking with your starter who has thrown like 150 fucking pitches with your season on the line. You know what else was a gut call? Grady Little leaving Pedro Martinez in the fucking game. What happened that game? Pedro blew it. I guarantee you, if Boston goes to one of their good relievers in that spot, the Red Sox go to the 2003 World Series. I guarantee you that. Gut feel also helped create the monster that was the narrative of postseason Kershaw. The amount of times this man was left in there to die when he was clearly done and had nothing left because of gut feel.
Yeah, Dave Roberts pretty much destroyed Clayton Kershaw's what should be a sterling postseason career.
Him and Matheny.
Yeah, and Mike Matheny and Don Mattingly.
Yeah.
Willie Adames said it. I don't think Clayton Kershaw is bad in the postseason. He just get left in games too long.
I agree with that. And I also agree with the bullpen blowing shit for him as well.
Absolutely. The bullpen, the Dodgers bullpen, it seemed like every time they relieved Clayton Kershaw with two guys on, 2 outs, they couldn't get the out.
Yeah, every time Kershaw left runners on base, you best believe those runners were going to score. It is actually remarkable. But now that we've actually gotten to it, I can actually say I'm happy for Clayton Kershaw. I am. I'm a Rockies fan. I'm happy for Clayton Kershaw. He deserved it.
Oh, wait, I got another one.
Yeah, go ahead.
Game 4 was gut feel. Because you remember Dave Roberts said, I felt like Kenley Jansen was going to be competitive, and I felt like he wanted to prove something wrong in the bottom of the ninth.
Dummies. Yeah, Jansen shouldn't have been anywhere near the mound in Game 4.
You should have left on Blake Trining, or you should have went to Joe Kelly. And Joe Kelly didn't get any burn this postseason.
Yep.
Or was he ineligible because he got suspended?
I don't know. I think it was eligible. He just didn't pitch.
Because he didn't pitch a single inning.
Then something might have been up, because that would be weird.
That's very weird.
Kenley Jansen out there. And Dave Roberts did this before. He did it last year with Kershaw as well.
He does this every year with Kershaw. They go to postseason.
Like literally. Sticking with his guys, to make sure.
In the 2017 World Series, when he does this with Kershaw and Kenley Jansen, like when Marwin Gonzalez hit that 3-run homer.
Yeah, he broke him.
He broke his ass. Oh my goodness, he crippled that man. It was like when Bane dropped Batman on his knee and broke his back. Literally.
That's a fact, bro. And Kenley Jansen still hasn't gotten out the fucking hole. Yo, that's so accurate. I'm fucking crying. That's accurate as hell.
Like, that's all. That's whenever we watch that World Series, because that World Series was a fucking classic.
Yeah, it is. It's a shame that it's tainted.
Yeah, it is, because I want to like those guys in the Astros, but because they're so talented. Why? We're not going to get into that. We've gone on with that too many times. But every time I see that 3-run homer that Marwin hit, I just imagine when he dropped that man on his knee and broke him like a pack of Walmart spaghetti noodles.
That's a fact. That's a fact. And Kenley Jansen still has not recovered. He has not been the same pitcher since that day.
No. In no facet.
And he probably never will.
It was like when Albert Pujols broke Brad Lidge in the 2005 NLCS.
Yeah.
With that fucking moon, in the same stadium, in that moonshot off the fucking train tracks. Oh my goodness, Albert Pujols was amazing.
Yeah, he was incredible in his prime. That's pretty. Because I actually kind of feel robbed that I never saw him in his prime. Because all I've seen is fucking the late stages.
He made it look so easy, bro. It was, the bat speed was just so easy. Like, the way he would just turn his wrist, and when he pulled the ball, because he used to go opposite a lot too, but when he would get a hanger or he'd get one in the middle or inside, and he would just turn his wrist over, and it looked so easy. Like it wasn't even a home run swing. It looked like he was hitting batting practice. And when it would go out, it would just keep on going. Like Albert Pujols just made the game look so easy because the dude was just a good ass baseball player. Because when he first came up, he was bounced all over the place defensively, but he wasn't that bad. He just played first really well, and he was a gold glove first baseman, and he could rack up defensive runs saved at first, which is insane to do. And the dude can steal bases. Like he had a couple of seasons when he stole almost 20 bases, which is ridiculous for a first baseman. Like I think the best baseman and first baseman I've ever seen personally is Paul Goldschmidt, because Goldie could put up 32 steals in the season if he really wanted to.
I agree with that.
I mean, I think Goldie's done it before.
I'd say Goldsmith is the best. I'm trying to think. I can't. Well, I mean, no, Votto. I'll give it to Joey Votto.
I think Goldie's better. Base running.
Oh, I mean, base runner for sure.
Base running, yeah. Defensively.
Oh, I mean, I thought you was talking overall. I thought you was talking overall.
Just base. I was talking about just base running, but.
And Goldie, yeah.
But Albert Pujols was just. He was different, La Machina, and that's what I hate when people started giving the machine nickname to players on every team because it's a common baseball nickname. Like, they should stop that shit. Albert Pujols is a machine. Albert Pujols is a La Machina.
Yeah, that's like a basketball player getting called his airness.
Yeah, like no. And I feel like we really kind of forget about Albert Pujols because how bad he was on the Angels, but when you look at it, he wasn't outright awful. I mean, the dude was out of his prime and old, and he was still putting up 99 WRC plus season, which is decent. I mean, it's not. He's still league average, and he's a shell of himself.
Yeah, I think that also like that Pujols contract is like a landmark in baseball history to me.
Yes.
Because after that point, teams stopped giving those fucking deals to players 31 or older. Like, hell no. Because I think the Pujols deal, I think that deal was justified in the steroid era when you had dudes 39 years old hitting like they were 26.
Right.
But
and when you look at Pujols' play style with his swing and everything, his decline was going to be rough. I actually feel like Miguel Cabrera was more of a milestone than Pujols was.
I think I'm not sure about that one because I think the Pujols contract has like more fame to it because like Cabrera was already signed to a massive deal before that, and it was kind of like more like an extension in sorts.
Okay, that's fair.
But like the Cabrera one is pretty bad too. Not gonna hold you. There's been some bad contracts out in baseball, but yeah, like hitters like Pujols who depend on bat speed, and I mean Pujols walked a lot, but like his skill.
He didn't even really walk a lot. He only walked maybe. Well, he had a couple seasons where he walked a lot, but what made Pujols so special was he barely struck out.
For a power hitter, yeah.
Like the dude, like he had Jose Ramirez strikeout rates and contact skills with 80 grade power.
That actually makes it even more impressive that he walked as much as he did, because to strike out that little, you got to swing a lot at borderline pitches.
Exactly. When you're putting up, you hit 180 hits or more in the season, and you're still not striking out a lot, and you're still using that remaining amount of plate appearances where you're not hitting it to an out in order to walk. It's a true testament of skill, and I don't think people really comprehend that correctly.
Yeah, because most hitters who strike out very little also don't walk a lot. Applies to a guy like, for example, like Nolan Arenado, for example, and I say this because I know it. The only reason he walks at an above average, clip is because he gets nothing to hit. Because he swings at everything.
Yep.
But we kind of got sidetracked because we actually have a couple topics to cover. You want to give Kershaw some props? Because I already gave Kershaw all the props I can give him. Like I already gave Kershaw all the props I can contractually give him as a Rockies fan. So
Um, Kershaw is underrated, and postseason in terms of postseason, he's very underrated. And honestly, if he didn't have shitty incompetent managers, his postseason numbers would look a lot better. And casual fans are idiots with the way they fucking bomb on him. He has a 4.3 ERA in the postseason. He's garbage. He's not a true Hall of Famer. Casual baseball fans look at postseason baseball the same way they look at postseason basketball, football. It's completely different.
yeah, means
And
nothing.
Clayton Kershaw is truly a victim of casual baseball fans and their perspectives, in my opinion.
Yeah, he's a victim of the narrative. Plays for an LA team, has been the untouchable ace for like a decade. He's a target. Like, let's just call it what it is.
And he's a
So, I
lefty,
mean,
so he obviously follows the Sandy Koufax
yeah,
lineage, and obviously has the curveball as well. So that plays into it also.
yeah. So, congratulations to Clayton Kershaw. Corey Seager was the World Series MVP, well deserved. And yeah, I don't think I can stomach talking about pause. I don't think I can stomach talking about the World Series anymore. Not all
Also,
of
I
it.
think Corey Seager also dispelled a lot of narrative too, because remember he had the couple seasons after his rookie year where he struggled,
Yeah,
and that was
that
big
was
because remember he was involved in the trade talks for Lindor, and I'm glad he shook those off because he's a very talented player, and he's also a little bit underrated in his own right, in my opinion.
I think so. He's a top 3 shortstop.
Especially defensively, because remember people were like, "Oh, he should move to third." Remember when he had a little bit of struggle when his arm was walking on him a bit before he got Tommy John.
I think he'll move to third eventually.
Eventually, yeah. The big shortstops like Correa and Seager, and they're gonna move to third. I think Trevor Story will probably stick at third, stick at short, just because of his range and his speed. Because he's way faster than the other big shortstops in the league right now.
Yeah, Story's only problem might be his throwing arm, but
he does have a good arm.
He has a strong arm, but he has like a fucking watch him like throw to first. He has fucking weird delivery, and sometimes he's almost like tentative with how he throws to first. He doesn't like how you buy it, for example. Like when you watch him throw to first, like it's just like smooth. Like he just fucking whips the arm.
Oh, he's very accurate. I say him and Puerto Rican shortstops like him and Lindor are just very accurate with their arm.
Yeah, Story has a very strong arm, but he's not as accurate because he sometimes like tries to like not put as much force behind the throw.
Okay. He's trying to protect himself, and
probably like Tulo also did that as well. Sometimes he didn't throw full force.
I mean, Tulo had a cannon, so I mean,
that's fair. Yeah, that's fair.
Like I won't be surprised if Tulo threw one and it went through the first baseman's webbing and went through his face or some shit.
Yeah, that's a fact. So I think that's the World Series for me. I talked about it too much. Congratulations to the Dodgers. Congratulations to the Rays. Please don't fuck up again, Tampa Bay. I fucking hate you. Increase the payroll. So, moving on.
Should have been Cleveland, but
no, not with that offense. Get the fuck out.
If anybody's gonna put up 2 runs in multiple games in the World Series, it should have been Cleveland. Lindor doesn't deserve to go out like that. I'm sorry.
He'll be with a different team next season, so you can maybe get your wish.
All right, fuck you, bro. Okay.
You know I'm right.
But you didn't have to say it, okay? That everybody and their mama knows Lindor is getting traded for fucking peanuts.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you can laugh at me when Nolan and his Story both get traded at next year's deadline for a bag of empty Doritos. So, it'll all be fair by that point. So anyway, we got two more topics to talk about. We got managers, we got qualifying offers,
and free
and
agents.
the free agent market.
And we also got to talk about
insane.
the Mets sale.
Oh yeah, you want to start with manager first? Because I feel like you do have quite a bit to say on a certain hire in Chicago.
Okay, all right.
Oh my God, that sigh. I'm gonna grab some fucking water.
Oh my God, all right. The Chicago White Sox fired Rick Renteria this offseason, which kind of made sense. Considering they're at the position where they're kind of open up the next playoff condition window as they line up as they call up their wave of talent, young talent that they have. And they hired Tony LaRussa. Tony LaRussa.
A fossil.
Oh man. Okay. All right.
This shit make no goddamn sense.
Tony LaRussa was born in 1944.
1944, bro. Dude, this motherfucker, he was born when World War II was still a thing, bro.
Yes, like he was born 4 months after D-Day happened. Now, mind you, he started managing in 1979 at age 34. At the time, he was the youngest manager in baseball. And Tony LaRussa, actually, he didn't really invent analytics, but he was one of the first managers to openly use the term analytics and openly said he applies them in his philosophy as a manager. Mind you, this is back in like 1990 something, so it doesn't really fucking count.
Oh shit, this is funny.
And Tony LaRussa, he's a Hall of Fame manager. He's managed 5,000 games. He has a 53% winning percentage in his career. He has 2,700 wins. He has 3 World Series rings. He took his team to 6 pennants, and he's a 4-time manager of the year. He was inducted as a manager in Hall of Fame in 2014. And he also played in the MLB as well. Like, I read this street thing, and he played with Hank Aaron, and Hank Aaron played with, I think, Eddie Matthews or somebody, and they played with some guys that played back in when baseball was pre-segregated and shit. And it just pretty much shows how fucking old he is. But that's my problem with him isn't really just his age, even though that's a part of it. Because Tony LaRussa has managed some personalities in his career. When you manage a Oakland A's pennant that has Ricky Henderson and fucking Dave Winfield and all those crazy angry guys on those teams in Oakland back in the day,
Canseco,
Jose Canseco and shit, McGuire, all of those, you get some credit, okay? But when you're a fucking wrinkly old bigot like Tony LaRussa is, why are you putting him in a fucking clubhouse full of Afro-Latino and Black American players? Does that make fucking sense to you?
No.
Does that make fucking sense to you? You hired a guy who went on a rant about how players should sit in the fucking clubhouse if they're kneeling, and you had a fucking 7 Afro-Latino and Black guys that kneeled last fucking year when fucking black people were getting shot up and they still had to fucking play baseball and shit. Really? You hired a guy that went on a fucking temper tantrum when Fernando Tatis Jr. hit a grand slam up 7-0 on a 3-0 pitch. And Tim Anderson is your fucking leadoff guy? Really? That's what you do? Jerry Reinsdorf, that's what the fuck you do? You felt bad because you fired the guy after his first stint and he's your friend, so you hire him again and you cut off your GM's balls because you want fucking Tony LaRussa to be your fucking manager?
Hey, dog. Oh, yo, that press conference with the Rick Hand. That
No,
man,
it
he
was
ain't want
telling.
no
He didn't
parts.
want nothing to do with that shit.
He might quit, bro.
He said, "Look, it wasn't me." That's basically what he fucking said. I'm
Yeah.
paraphrasing right now, but what the man said was, "What you guys should pretty much take away from this is Tony LaRussa should be saying thanks, Jerry." Now you really can't get more fucking cryptic than that with a GM, right?
This is one of the dumbest fucking things I've ever seen.
And
in my
mind
entire
you,
life.
we're talking about Jerry Reinsdorf, the dude that broke up the 1990s Bulls. Now we could bring it on Heat. I could call on Heaney right now and have him going a whole fucking rant about that, but we won't do that because we'll be here until tomorrow.
Exactly.
So I'm gonna put this in layman's terms. Tony LaRussa should not be a fucking manager in Major League Baseball in 2020, in 2021. It shouldn't be happening. There's no reason for this to be happening. I thought Alex Cora was a perfect fit.
Me too. I was
Alex
expecting
Cora,
Alex Cora.
honestly, he should be the manager of this baseball team. He gets a young core. He's multilingual. He's Latino. He played the game, and he proved he could win a World Series, and he knows what the fuck he's doing. And he has one of the best young cores in baseball, and you're 4 or 5 of your best position players are fucking black. That should have been his. It should have been his. It should have been his job. Right after Rick Renteria was gone, with the culture you had, and then with Alvin continuity, because you would have had 2 bilingual managers in there too. Oh, Tony LaRussa knows Spanish. I don't give a. Does he? Well, Tony LaRussa probably he does know Spanish, but still. Do I want the old Ricky motherfucker in my face talking Spanish? No.
Like, the thing that kills me here is that the White Sox had undisputedly the most attractive manager opening in baseball by a mile.
Absolutely.
By a mile. They had their choice. They could pick anyone. This managers
and they didn't even do a real due process.
Yes, like there was potential managers lining up for the job. Please let me manage this fucking team that's set for at least 6 years and has a good
longer than that GM. 8 to 10 years, because remember they got pretty much their whole core locked up already.
That's a fact.
And mind you, they're probably going to sign George Springer this offseason too.
I don't know about that. That's a lot of money, but
I think they will. Even if they don't, they still have the best core in baseball. Young core, I mean.
Yeah, it is. It's incomprehensible. The fact that there was no search process for this, I think that's the part that really blows my fucking mind. Because I remember Rick Hand said after they fired Renteria, which by the way, kind of made sense to me. I feel like
they should have gave him 1 more year. They could have. It would have been justified to give him 1 more year.
I agree, but I didn't have an opinion on it. I was expecting for them to do it. If they would have kept him around, I would have been fine. I mean, I don't root for the White Sox, so I don't care at that level. But it was insane to me because Rick Hand said we're gonna do we're gonna do our due diligence. We're gonna do a whole search, and Jerry Reinsdorf pretty much cut his nuts off and told him this is who you're going to hire, like it or not. And they didn't interview anyone else. Tony fucking LaRussa in 2021.
When 15 minutes after you sign the guy, there's reports that people in the front office are furious and puzzled by the decision. Something is wrong, bro.
There's going to be free agents that don't want to go there.
Marcus Stroman favored the fucking article that I'm talking about, where he said,
yeah,
Marcus Stroman would have been perfect.
Yeah, you know what's funny? I saw Marcus Stroman as one of the in MLB.com. They were talking about the qualifying offer predictions and who might reject them. and all that shit. And it was like, and the top, the top free agents by position. And it was like, man, if Marcus Stroman rejects his offer, White Sox make perfect sense.
Perfect sense. A clubhouse full of black players playing in Chicago.
It's
Oh
laughable.
my god!
It's just laughable. It's laughable.
It's disgusting.
It's laughable.
It just shows how backwards and racist baseball still is, and I can't wait for this meltdown to happen so I can fucking go on Twitter and spew jokes and shit all over. The people were like, Tony LaRussa is gonna remove analytics from baseball in Chicago. Fucking idiots. Fucking dunces, all of you. Everybody, Jerry Reinsdorf and everybody that agreed with Tony LaRussa being a manager in 2021 needs a fucking dunce cut.
I agree. I can't wait for Nick Madrigal to be hitting second.
Oh my god, I'm gonna commit seppuku. Now, mind you,
man said seppuku, bro.
As a Cleveland baseball fan, I am excited.
Yeah, like that's what I was about to say. I'm like,
and that's not even important to me right now.
Yeah, like this, how much it bothers you. It is fucking insane. It managed to actually overshadow the fact that AJ Hinch got hired again. Good job, Jerry Reinsdorf. That's all I'm going to say to you, you glorious bastard. Good job. Good job potentially fucking up your team's clubhouse.
You drive away Phil Jackson and Michael Jordan. And 20 years later, you possibly put at jeopardy one of the best young cores baseball has ever seen.
Now, mind you, there is a chance this all ends up working out and the White Sox are okay. But there's also a good chance that this ends up blowing up all over Jerry Reinsdorf's face. I'm talking like LaRussa might lose the locker room. If Tony LaRussa is not on his shit, he might lose the locker room on game 50, bro.
Oh, it's going to be so bad if they wind up doing a fire sale.
Dude, if one of their young pieces gets traded because he pissed off Tony LaRussa.
We already know it's Tim Anderson.
That's going to be crazy, dog. All right, so we got the White Sox as the potential next drama team in baseball because Jerry Reinsdorf is a fucking dunce. You got...
I wish I could just be in a clubhouse every day from spring training onwards. Like I just want
on the wall.
I just want to be in those team meetings. I want to see the looks on those guys' faces when he calls them together in the clubhouse on February 17th.
Dog, this has a chance to be an epic meltdown beyond description.
Think about this: who are the pitching coaches and hitting coaches and all that stuff? Who he's going to hire for video coordination?
Yeah, because not only did you hire a bigot, you hired a fucking 76-year-old bigot who's probably not as sharp.
Probably.
I'm trying to be nice.
Most likely. No,
Most definitely.
Don't be nice. Don't be nice.
Yeah, he won't be sharp. So, I mean, I personally don't have anything else on it. I mean, this is both pathetic, laughable, and sad to me all at once. I think it's pretty telling that you basically didn't even get to the fact that as a fan of Cleveland, you are happy about this move, but it bothers you so much that you barely even got into that. So
I don't really care.
Says enough. Yeah, look at that. That's crazy. Yeah, I'm sort of missing my words here because there's really not a whole else to say. This is one of the wackiest fucking decisions I've seen a baseball owner take since Dick Monfort named himself team president.
I said my piece.
You don't let out 7 sighs just on this section alone. That's crazy. AJ Hinch. I mentioned it before. Moving on. AJ Hinch is the new manager of the Detroit Tigers. I would bet money that his phone was ringing 3 seconds after his suspension was up, and the Tigers are the ones who gets him. They're an interesting team moving forward. Not gonna hold you, because AJ Hinch is a proven winning manager, even if he's a fucking cheater, and the Tigers have a lot of good pitching prospects. But they're still a ways off. So how do you feel about the move? Because it's also a move that affects you directly in your division.
I like it. Apparently Justin Verlander talked to Al Avila, the GM of the Tigers, and recommended him. AJ Hinch is a good manager. We'll have to see how it plays out, because he's always gonna have to correlate with how the Tigers core their young players do. They're gonna go as far as their young core takes them.
I agree. They're still a ways off, of course. A lot of years off. That's actually interesting. I didn't read any of that about Justin Verlander recommending him in that, but makes sense. So that's AJ Hinch. A lot of people were mad. A lot of people were very happy. It was like a mix. I didn't see anyone on social media who was like, yeah, well, we'll see how he does. Everyone was like, this is fucking amazing. I can't believe the Tigers are doing this. Tigers World Series champs 2026. Or people were like, "We hired a fucking cheater. Are you fucking kidding me? Fucking done with this team." It was like those two extremes, one or the other. There's no middle ground, as is typical with people on social media. So that's that. That Tony LaRussa shit is gonna definitely end up being a snippet. By the way.
Absolutely. That's probably
yeah.
the loudest I've ever been.
That's definitely the loudest you've ever been. I can attest to that. Actually, you want to move on and do the free agent market, or you want to save that for a later episode? Because this one's already pretty long.
We can do the free agent market, and we can save the Mets thing for something else.
Okay. So the free agent market. Now, as you know, all the COVID shit, all the money lost by the owners and baseball. Everyone knew that this was going to have a big impact on the game and a big impact on how teams approach free agency and all those things. I didn't see it getting quite this bad. There's been quite a few players, quality players, who've gotten their qualifying offers declined. A lot of players were expected to be allowed to let go. And there's going to be a couple teams that are really going to take advantage of this type of market. The Mets are one of them. We'll talk about their sale, but just know they're going to have a lot of fucking money. Some other teams that might benefit, like I'm trying to think. Like, do you have any? Because I'm thinking the teams that might benefit are the teams that need to add pieces right now to compete. A lot of pieces. Because they're going to get them on the cheap.
Yep. The Angels.
Yeah. Who knows? They might actually find the bullpen for once.
Yeah. The Mets are going to spend big, especially because they have a new owner.
Yeah.
And he has a lot. He's the richest owner in MLB. The Phillies got to add pieces.
Yeah. They better re-sign JT Realmuto as well.
I doubt it. I think he goes to the Mets.
I agree, but it's going to be a meltdown in Philadelphia if they don't.
That was going to be a meltdown. That rebuild was terrible.
They spent over $500 million.
That owner flushed $500 million down the toilet.
And they still haven't made the playoffs.
How do you do that?
Yeah, how do you manage to do that? Not even that they didn't make the playoffs. They haven't even... Since they signed Bryce Harper, they're below 500. No bullshit. That's pretty amazing.
Whew. That takes some skill right there.
They might have fucked up their own rebuild.
They might have. They definitely did, because they didn't have the core pieces to even sign. I mean, I know Bryce Harper went where the money was, and props to him. He deserves it. He's simultaneously underrated and overrated. As you said, there's no middle ground on social media, and we've been over that before. He's a talented player, and when he's on, he's on. But that organization has no idea what they're doing from an organizational standpoint, just at all.
I agree, and that same problem can be traced to the Angels, other organizations like that. Um, the Cubs, I think, are also another team that might take advantage of that
The
free
White
agent market. So,
Sox.
yes, I agree with that as well. So, let's go. Like, you have like some players, because I can recall some players off the top of my head who've had their qualifying offers, declined. Colin Wong, John Lester, Brad Hand.
Colton Wong, John Lester, and Brad Hand were their contract options. They weren't qualifying offers.
Oh yeah, that's right. My bad. I was like
Good.
mixing both of them.
So, I'm looking right now. One moment.
Yeah, because I can't fucking recall. Because I just mix both of them up. But
So,
the point is, yeah, go ahead.
players I know for a fact got extended qualifying offers, but they haven't accepted or declined them yet. Were Trevor Bauer, Kevin Gausman, DJ LeMahieu, JT Realmuto, George Springer, and Marcus Stroman.
I think none of them are taking them.
I think Kevin Gausman might take his. Who knows? Now I know players that Oakland didn't issue a qualifying offer to Marcus Semien and Liam Hendricks, and neither did Didi Gregorius and Jelton Simmons.
That's a fact. There's going to be
And
a lot of
Michael
players
Brantley.
out there.
So I'm looking at the list of MLB free agents, and right now the top ones are Bauer, Realmuto, Springer, Mayhew, Ozuna, Stroman, Didi Gregorius, Kevin Gausman, Tanaka, Liam Hendricks, Jake Odorizzi, Michael Brantley, Justin Turner. He's going to sign with the Dodgers, though. Marcus Semien, James McCann. That's a really underrated one because he had a really good season before they brought back, before the White Sox brought in Yasmani Grandal. You got Jelton Simmons, Jock Peterson, Jose Quintana, Nelson Cruz, Jackie Bradley Jr., James Paxton, Taijuan Walker, Garrett Richards, Colin Wong, Brad Hand, Trevor Rosenthal, Trevor May, Blake Trinan, Tommy La Stella, Corey Kluber got his option declined by the Rangers. Charlie Morton got his offer declined by the Rays, which is big because he's still really good, even though he's
cheap
old.
ass fucking Rays.
Yadier Molina, Jurickson Profar is going to be big because I think he still has prospect pedigree and he's only 28. Adam Wainwright, although he's going back to the Cardinals. Robbie Ray is a big one. Cesar Hernandez, Carlos Santana.
It was going to happen eventually, dog.
He should retire a Cleveland Baseball Club member, but Alex Colomé is a free agent. Mike Minor, who could be a good bounce back candidate. Jay Happ, Kirby Yates, Greg Holland, although he's boo-boo, Drew Smiley, John Lester, Rick Porcello, Cole Hamels, Mark Melanson, Anthony Desclafani, and Chris Archer. And Shane Green, Jake McGee, Matt Moore, Jonathan Scope, Jeremy Jeffers, Robbie Grosso, Kevin Pillar, Adam Eaton, Brett Gardner, Martin Perez, Jonathan Villar, Brad Miller, Joakim Soraya, Darren O'Day, Brandon Kinsler, and a couple other players. And there's also a big shortstop from Korea who's getting posted, and he's a power and speed threat who also can stick at shortstop in the major leagues. So he might be a big free agent signing somewhere.
I think the one trend I'm noticing with that whole list you have right there, a lot of above average regular players.
Yeah.
A lot of above average regular players, and a lot of them are going to be cheap. So
they're gonna settle for 1 to 2 year deals because of COVID. and wait till the market resets itself.
Exactly.
Especially with the bargaining agreement expiring after the end of the 2021 season.
Yeah, and that's a potential shitstorm coming that we'll have to talk about because
There might be some stoppage.
That's gonna be ugly. I think that baseball is encouraged to not have stoppage because they lost 100 games of this season because owners didn't want to negotiate.
Definitely.
But
I feel like the players knew that, and that's why they kind of grit their teeth and bear it with the fact they won with 60 games instead of 80.
Yeah, because now the players have a lot of leverage.
Yes, they have so much leverage, especially with COVID and how much the owners have lost.
Yeah, they have leverage. They better use it.
The players have nothing to lose at this point.
Exactly. They better use that leverage. So anyway, that's a lot of talent in those guys you named. A lot of above average regulars. I think that, kind of like we talk about like Mets, Angels, maybe the Cubs, teams that need to add depth throughout the roster and quality depth, and maybe a couple of good starters, everyday starters. Those teams are going to benefit the most. The teams that need maybe like big moves, big stars to get them over the top, those might not as much. I think a team like the Blue Jays might benefit, to be quite honest with you, because they don't have a commitment long term, to many contracts, and they might be able to get a couple good players on the cheap to complement the young core that's still cheap. So
definitely, there's a lot of bounce back candidates on that list as well.
Yeah,
I know Ryan Braun got his option declined as well.
Ryan Braun's a beast in MLB The Show 13, but
he's washed.
He is. I mean, it had to happen eventually, but actually, wasn't he a cheater though?
Yeah, he did take PEDs.
Oh, then fuck that motherfucker. So, well, I mean, see, that's the wild part, because if you cheat in like the 2010s, then that's wild.
Yeah, he got caught
in the 2000s.
He got caught early. He got caught in the early 2010s because remember, he was on the Hall of Fame track early in his career.
And then he got off the PEDs and I'm gonna look up his numbers, dog.
I'm gonna find them too.
I'm gonna look at his numbers. If they some ass, he go get some jokes from me.
He better be negative .01 WAR this season.
Oh, he's done. He's a first baseman too at this point.
So, man, okay, these are his first season in the MLB in terms of WAR. 2, 4.6, 6.2, 5.7, 7.7, 6.9, 1.7, 1.2, just after he got caught. Then he put up a 3.3 and a 4.3 WAR in 2015, 2016. And after that, he was pretty much a league average player.
Oh my God. Fucking lame ass. You can tell when he got caught. Bitch ass motherfucker. Look at him.
And they still had to pay him too, because remember they gave him that big extension.
Yeah. Fuck that guy. He stole a Rookie of the Year award from Troy Tulowitzki as well.
Oh yeah, that was him.
The fuck out of here.
Oh,
man.
2.0. Ew, that's just gross.
Look at the drop in WAR. He dropped like 5 wins in the season after he got caught. Bitch ass motherfucker.
Oh man.
Anyway,
yeah, he shouldn't have won that. Actually, man, only thing he was good at was hitting, and Tulo torched him and everything else.
He was trash. Tulo
and
was like a 5-more player.
He played 40 more games. Tulo put up 6.8 WAR.
Look at that shit, dog. Get the fuck out of here, man.
He lost the vote by 2 points.
That's crazy.
That just shows how archaic baseball was back then.
That's fucking crazy. I bet it's only because Braun hit 324. Fuck out of here.
He hit, man. Braun's numbers in 113 games are crazy, but Tulo was just so much better in every other facet of the game, especially defensively. Because remember when Braun came up, he was an awful third baseman.
Yeah, there's a reason he moved to left. Yeah, fuck that guy. So anyway, got caught up looking at the numbers here. There are a few things I like doing more than fucking going to Fangraphs and fucking looking for random players. I was looking at Keith Hernandez's numbers recently, bro. I was like, God damn, huh?
He was pretty good. He was really good.
This guy was an on-base machine.
Yeah,
As a first baseman, you don't get that. But anyway,
you want to do some free agent predictions or
free agent predict? Oh yeah, go ahead. I don't have any, to be quite honest with you, because
I'll ask you where guys are going, and you can just tell me where you think they're gonna go.
Okay.
We can do like the popular guys. Trevor Bauer.
Whoever pays him the most.
Okay, so the Dodgers.
Yeah. Fuck my life. You're a dickhead for that, by the way.
I'm right. Oh, he's gonna go to the Dodgers. Okay, JT Realmuto.
Mets.
I agree. He's gonna get like 5 years, 130 million or something like that.
You don't get the fucking bag. That contract's gonna look terrible by the last year, but it won't matter.
Who knows? He's so athletic. Who knows? George Springer.
I'll say the Mets too.
Man, if the Mets get George Springer, JT Realmuto, and Lindor in one off season.
Hey, what better way to indicate to your fans that this is an ownership change, right?
You're right. Marcell Ozuna.
I think that depends, though, because if the National League keeps the DH, I think the Braves will do anything in their power to keep him.
I don't know. I can see him going to the Reds. Cleveland.
I don't think he goes to the Reds. I think it's too expensive for the Reds.
I'm glad you passed upon that Cleveland joke. DJ LeMahieu.
Yankees. If he doesn't ask for a crazy amount.
I don't know. I could see some team give him $60 million just to be stupid.
I mean, I can definitely see that, but I think he's fine in New York. I think he likes it there. And I think the Yankees will be smart. They'll put a good contract on the table, but they won't do anything stupid.
Okay. Marcus Stroman.
Blue Jays.
I say Angels.
Actually, you're right. He's not going back to the Blue Jays. I say Angels, yeah. You're right.
Didi.
Reds.
Yeah, me too. Tanaka. I think he goes back to Yankees.
I agree.
On
a cheap deal, but yeah.
Yeah. Jake Odorizzi.
I don't fucking know. No clue who you got for him, because it was bad.
Angels make sense. So do the Blue Jays. White Sox make sense also. The Rays.
Cubs, maybe.
I think the Cubs will find a way to bring John Lester back.
I agree.
Liam Hendricks.
Sure as hell not to the A's. They're going to let him walk.
Yeah. I think the Phillies or the Astros.
I'm thinking of it. I'm kind of tempted to say every single team. I'll say the Mets. Fuck that.
Yeah, the Mets make a lot of sense.
Because the Mets have a dumpster fire for bullpen.
Yeah. And Dylan Betances picked up his $16 million option.
They did?
He did. They gave him a player option for $16 million, bro.
Oh, yeah, he picking that up.
Okay. Michael Brantley.
I think he stays in Houston, to be quite honest with you.
I think the Braves.
That kind of makes sense. Cleveland also makes sense.
Don't give me any hope. Don't give me any hope.
That was on purpose. Fuck that. I think
you asshole.
But yeah, I think you're right. I think the Braves do make sense if they don't bring back Ozuna. That is.
If Michael Brantley goes back to Cleveland, I'm going to be doing somersaults.
Doing somersaults all the way to 83 wins. Okay.
Not with that pitching staff. That's definitely a 89-1 pitching staff.
That's true though, which is why I can make the joke, because then I'll be proven wrong, and then you could laugh at me. I'm setting myself up for the jokes.
Justin Turner goes back to the Dodgers.
Easy.
Marcus Semien.
Jesus Christ. It's tough because Semien is a good shortstop, but he's not like an elite shortstop. So I'm guessing that teams that would
Angels or Reds.
I think so. At this point, the Reds are gonna get a shortstop this year.
Yeah,
because they want to compete now.
Who else? The White Sox are signing an outfielder. Marcell Ozuna might go to the White Sox. Yeah, I think Angels make sense because they're gonna let go at Andrelton Simmons.
Yeah, that is true.
I think James McCann goes to the Phillies since they're not going to re-sign JT Realmuto.
I think the White Sox will do everything they can to get him back.
I mean, but when they're giving all that money, you think they're gonna give $25 million a year to two catchers?
I mean, if there's a position to give $25 million to.
I mean, even though that is probably the best two catcher duo in the MLB.
I can see some teams just throwing James McCann the bag.
I think it's like a 2 or 3 year deal.
I agree. Phillies make a lot of sense. The Phillies seem to be one of those teams that seems to think that the best way to fix your woes is just to throw money over them.
Okay, where do you think Andrelton Simmons goes?
I think he makes sense to have like a 1 year deal on a team that maybe isn't competing for a whole lot.
I think the Yankees.
So you can really.
Yes.
I'd actually kind of like to see that because they'll get him to get every single, ounce of ability he can get out of the bat, and the glove plays by itself. So that would actually be interesting.
I agree with you, but Yankees fans are going to bitch and moan, and that's going to be so annoying because they're not going to appreciate who he is or what he brings to the table.
I don't think so.
I think so. Well, you know what Yankees fans I'm talking about. Not the ones we're cool with.
No, I know. I know, but like Andrelton Simmons is an elite defender that by default, like that already makes you more friendly towards the casual fan who sees you defensively and like, oh my fucking god, you know what I mean?
I mean, yeah, definitely. Andrelton Simmons, he's the best individual defender in baseball. He laps everybody else in terms of volume.
Another thing is he also doesn't strike out a lot, which I think plays right into the hands of basically every old school fan out there.
Yeah. You know what? DJ LeMahieu and Andrelton, that makes a lot of sense to bring them back because to quell the strikeout issues the Yankees had last year.
I think it's one of the two. I think if they bring back DJ, Andrelton will be nowhere.
Okay, fair enough. I'm gonna do a couple more. Jock Peterson.
Any team that needs a left-handed hitting outfielder. Astros.
So, Cardinals, Astros.
Cardinals are a good one, but they don't look like they're ready to spend money. So
that's true. I think they might swing a big trade, maybe. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah, that's about top 20-ish guys.
Yeah, because like I think someone will take a chance on Robbie Ray, for example. Relievers are really volatile. I doubt it's not going to be a good year for relievers. When Brad Hand, when the Indians refused to give Brad Hand $10 million for 1 year, I knew that it was going to be a really bad year for relievers.
Yeah, and I also think with Brad Hand, just to give you some context, there wasn't a trade market for him, regardless of how well he performed, because of the fact that he had a velocity drop last year.
That kind of makes sense. I mean, he is a lefty, though, so.
He was sitting 90-91, bro.
Sounds like a Rockies pitcher to me.
And he was good, and mind you, he was commanding. He was really struggling early in the season, especially with his command of his slider. I think he's done. I mean, I don't think he's done, but because he's a lefty. But in terms of elite reliever, I think everybody saw the decline.
I can definitely see, because of that you just said, I can definitely see the Rockies trying to like get him, just because they need lefty relievers, and lefty relievers entering a declining phase. Relievers entering declining phases in general. That's right up their alley. You also missed one free agent, by the way,
Who?
Kevin Pillar.
Y'all gonna give him like $13 million a year?
You already know who you're assigning to, baby. Let's fucking go. $30 million over 3 years, bro. He gonna be the starting center fielder. Dahl's gonna be in left. Charlie Blackmon's gonna be in right. Raimel Tapia's gonna be on the bench after having a .390 on base percentage. Sam Hiller's gonna be in AAA because there's no spot for him. Zach Veen is gonna come up, and at that point, Charlie Blackmon will still be playing in the outfield because they will have given him a 5-year extension this next year. It's so wonderful in Rockies land. Anyway, moving on. Before I kill myself, what else do we have?
That's it.
All right, so that's it. God damn, this was fucking long. Got anything to say to the people?
Check out my articles. I've been dropping a lot of good shit lately. Just put out an article on Sixto Sanchez and Tristan McKenzie and Devin Williams, 3 black pitchers, very talented. I should have another one out in a couple days. Check out Murray's articles. He's doing great things as well. He's got a big thing coming up, a big series. So keep your eyes peeled. Thank you guys for your support. Keep your eyes peeled. Just pause.
He got a big thing coming. It's pause.
Okay. All right, my fault.
That was crazy, dog.
Oh man, that was awful. Yeah.
This episode is done. Fuck that.
Yeah, it is. Just okay. Let's just focus on Tony LaRussa snippet. Okay.
Yeah, that's just gonna come out. So this episode's done. Thank y'all for listening. Pat didn't mean that last shit he said. By the way, he's not actually gay. Thank y'all for listening. This was episode 21, Pinch Talk with Mario Pat. Yeah, man, thank y'all for listening. Check out Pat's articles, check out my articles, check out everything. And stay tuned, because the baseball offseason is going to be very interesting this year. It's going to be pretty slow, but it's going to be interesting. A lot of narratives. We'll probably be doing, player profiles, historical player profiles, random facts and shit. If you got any questions, send them to the podcast account, which will be down below in the description. And yeah, that's it. Before Pat says anything suspect again, I'm going to shut the episode off. So that was it, people. Thank y'all for listening. Peace.